his name is...
It's John Bunday. So it is Friday, February 9th, and I've finished game 3 of the year. So because I'm trying to refocus on the 12 RPG challenge, I've been doing separate videos for each game that I've completed, but I thought I might still do these for like non-RPG games that kind of tie them together. So I don't know how often these might come out. It might just be one video at the end of the year if there's not many. But, you know, I still want to, you know, pay tribute to the games I have beaten over the course of this year as well. So, and that is for the Game Boy Color. It's not been physically released yet, so I've been playing through a flashcard, and that is the game Zephyr's Pass. And it is one that I'm in the beta testing program for. Like for those who saw the videos I did last year, there was one called Mera Sanctuary, and so the same publisher is doing more beta tests, and this is for this game. It's like a like Link's Awakening, Zelda Link's Awakening is like that style game, top-down action adventure game. I think the art in the game is gorgeous. There's a video I did on my channel last year looking at the demo of this game. So go and check that out, and this is the full-fledged game. There's bugs that, you know, I've encountered that I've been liaising back on. There's a fix-it page for those who've heard of that system. So hopefully when the final game gets released, you know, that it'll be a better quality product. I did enjoy my time with it. It took about, well, your play time about 2 to 3 hours. Mine's been longer due to hitting some game-breaking bugs. Some of them have been thanks to the Flash cartridge itself, because it turns out, if you didn't realise, on the Flash Easy Flash Junior, which is what I use, there's like a button here, but there's no like special kind of like thing to press. It's just, and you're meant to, when you want to actually finish the game, press that to go back to the main menu, and that will ensure it saves properly, because if you don't, the game can corrupt the save file. As in the cartridge, I mean, can. But anyway. So, yeah, so I've had to play through part of the game several times now, but it's also been good to help test this product, and means I get to play it for free. So, yeah. Anyway, I think it's available both, or will be, both digitally and physically, but definitely worth checking out if you're into your Homebrew GameBoy games. Till next time. It is April the 2nd, and I've beaten game 6 of the year, and that is The Mounting Apartment for the Game Boy. So this video is going to be a bit disjointed because I'm doing my RPGs like the main videos, but I also wanted to wrap up everything else I've been playing. So in the timeline, this was after Breath of Fire 3. Yeah, so Mounting Apartment is a homebrew, like, indie Game Boy game, and it's a horror game. It's very much in, like, kind of, I would say, the Japanese style of horror, so I don't really want to give anything away. It's not very long. There are 3 different endings you can get. It's free to download on itch. If I remember when I finally post this video, which could be a lot later this year, I'll try to put a link, but it is definitely worth playing. Like, the pixel art is fantastic, and the stuff that's like, you know, I feel like jump scares or anything like that. It's just kind of like the imagery of what's going on, and this to me it feels like it's a demo for like a larger project that I think the dev should definitely make. So if you're into like that kind of like horror kind of aesthetic games, then definitely give it a try. Like I say, it's a free download. You can play it via Game Boy emulator, or you can do it via a flash cart, and that's what I did. So yeah, give it a try, and yeah, hopefully you enjoy it as much as I did. It is April 3rd, and I've just finished game number 7, and that is Streets of Rage 3 for the Mega Drive. Now, this is a game that I have a long history with. Anyway, just to clarify, I'm talking about the English patched Japanese version of the game, not the original that we got released over here. Anyone who knows my channel well will know that I've talked several times about this, how the version of Streets of Rage 3 that was released in America and in PAL territories was they changed what was hard mode for Japan into normal mode, and so the game was a lot harder for us, along with like changing the story and changing the color of the outfits of the characters. Anyway, so after I downloaded the patched version a couple of years ago now and played through it via an emulator, I did beat it, but it was using save states, because on the final boss there's a 3-minute timer if you want to get the good ending, and so I had to reload it several times to be able to beat it. Whereas a friend who was staying with us, like, we've been playing through the Streets of Rage series every time she stayed over, because she, up until a couple of years ago, actually had a Mega Drive, but stupidly, she says herself, stupidly got rid of it anyway. But she never played the Streets of Rage series, so we've played through it, and so 1 and 2 previously, and now played 3. And I honestly have a newfound appreciation for this game. So whenever I played it originally, it was just the difficulty just never sat right with me, and so it overshadowed everything else about the game, because it's like, this is just too hard. If you play on easy mode, you don't get the whole game. Like, it ends early and you get another bad ending. Whereas playing it now on normal difficulty with a co-op buddy, the game became so much easier. Like, sorry, even easier than the fact that it's the Japanese version, as in easier than when I was playing it single player. So it feels like this game was designed for co-op, and if you play it single player, nothing changes, as in, I wonder if you still get the same amount of enemies and the bosses like have the same amount of health and everything. Like, you don't get, like in the first game, you got 2 of every boss if you were playing single player. Sorry, double co-op. Nothing of that. So I wonder if the game is easier. And then when we did the final boss and it had the 3-minute timer, don't get me wrong, like, we didn't have loads of time left, but having the 2 of us together, we were able to do it like first time. So difficulty wise, like, this does seem to be designed for co-op. The other thing as well that I didn't appreciate is that the things that the game brings mechanically as well are improvements, like the fact that you now have the ability to like run, and the fact that if you want to use a special move, it has the bar for, like, if you get to the top, if it gets to the top and says okay, then you won't waste any of your health using it. So it's great for getting you out of those dire straight moments, which in the second game would cost you health to do. And yeah, so I can see why some people say that like this is like their favorite game of the series because of these kind of things. And the other thing as well is like the graphical effects of the game, because I always don't really think much of the game itself, but that's via playing it, playing it through emulation or playing it on a console but not getting very far. Whereas now playing it through, maybe like the art design isn't like, like fantastic, but like the range of like the color palettes of what they're doing compared especially to the older entries, there's so much more like the devs knew what they were doing. Like, it was like during the first level, like there's a bit where like the sky is like transitioning from like daytime to dusk, so you see the color like changing, but also like the little effects of like the colors, the palettes of the characters. Like, there's so much more work gone into it, so you can see like this is like a late Mega Drive release, and it shows. And so I'm not saying that Streets of Rage 3 would necessarily be a game that will be my favourite of the series, but I definitely do like it a lot more playing it this way. But also, it's a shame because that means that these things that I now feel about it, so many people were robbed of back when it was released because of the changes that were made. And I think Sega did a huge disservice to people. I think it could be a rumour, but that these changes were made partly because of the worry about, you know, the blockbuster weekend rentals, people beating a weekend and then, you know, never buying the game. And in the long run, it's like damaged the franchise. I mean, anyway. So that's a lot of rambling. If you have the ability to play the patch version, I mean, you can play the Japanese version via if you have the Mega Drive Mini 2, but they do cut out a level because one of the mini bosses is a design that would not be accepted now, shall we say. Because of that, they just, rather than change it, they just cut the level out. It's just like, anyway. So Streets of Rage 3, definitely worth a play if you could play it the right way. Like, if I wouldn't mind having an original for the shelf, but I'm not going to pay the current prices where I'm never going to play it because it won't be as enjoyable as playing this version. Anyway. It is Thursday, April 4th, and Game 8 is finished. And that is Opossum Country for the Game Boy. So this is another homebrew kind of horror game. This one was made for a game jam, I think in 2020, 2022. I've already forgotten. So yeah, not a very long game again, but interesting. It's you are a food delivery guy, and you're trying to figure out like who you're meant to be delivering something to, and then you end up in this trailer park, and something weird is going on. I don't want to say too much. To say it's not a long game, but I don't want to ruin the story. Definitely worth a play. It's not difficult, and I don't think really there's a failure state, but it's definitely worth trying out. Like I say, not very long. And also, I have finished game number 9, and that is Cryohazard for the Game Boy. Another horror homebrew game. This one is actually a point and click game. So you wake up from cryosleep and you have no memories. You understand things about the world, you don't know why, but you just do. There are multiple endings for this game. I think I've got them all. Like, I've played through several times. Some of the endings are you just die and get a game over, but it is a legitimate ending. It doesn't give you a type of ending, it's just game over, but there's no other way that particular scene could have gone. So yeah, I took a look to try to figure out if if it's written down how many there are, but on the itch.io page they don't mention it. So but why have I been playing so many homebrew games? Well, the one game number 6 that I beat, Mounting Apartment, was thanks to the YouTuber Stricker. Whereas these two have actually been thanks to Steve, aka 9EG. So we've been chatting about homebrew Game Boy games. I sent him a bunch of ROMs that I've got that I thought he should try, and he did the same. And so I've been playing through them because I've been playing so many RPGs this year. It's been quite nice to play something different and something that's not too long. So yeah, 2 in one day is quite big for me, but yeah. So and he has sent me more, so don't be surprised if the next one or couple or more Game Boy homebrew games. I'm not gonna make a whole 52 being purely RPG and homebrew games, but you never know. I mean, there's far worse ways to enjoy gaming. Something that's got a lot of people's passion put into it. Yeah, definitely worth checking. If I remember, I'll put down links to where you can get these games, and they are definitely worth checking out. Like I say, they're not too long, and definitely worth giving a go. So yeah, why not? So it is Wednesday, April 17th, and game number 10 is finished. And that is God of War 2 on the PS3. So this was part of the God of War collection. So for those who've been following my channel for a year, at least, then I played the first God of War as part of the 52 challenge last year. It is also the game that's made me like rage the most in quite a while because of a particular. It was just a puzzle, but the time limit was so strict that it was very difficult to actually achieve, and it took many attempts. I almost put the controller through. Anyway, and yep, God of War 2 definitely is an improvement on the first. So even though the gameplay itself, I mean, you have like some new and different abilities, but how the game controls and feels, from what I remember from last year, is pretty much identical. So because these are both PS2 games that have been like remastered for the PS3, and so I don't know when they were originally released, if there's any differences in how they control, but at least with these remasters, they feel identical. I don't notice any difference, and going to this game, it was just like muscle memory of the things I could do. So that was good. But I did feel that actually this game is better than the first, not because of that one part, but the locations felt more interesting and varied and enjoyable. With the first game, yeah, don't get me wrong, it was some nice set pieces, but with this one, there was more variety going on, which is why I like. It might not be necessarily that lots of different locations, but where you were in those locations, there was more variety within them. So, which with the first game, there was like a lot of you were stuck in like the same areas for quite a while. Anyway, but yeah, so it's a great like game. Let down by the QTEs. This is something that was like quite prevalent back at that era, and it can be quite frustrating to fail a challenge because you didn't press a button quick enough. And there are different timings for some of these. Like some are just quite easy able to do, but others they must have reduced the time. And the most egregious of this was the final boss fight, because to end the final boss fight is a QTE event, but the timings are so short that I kept failing it over and over. And then I was like, what's going on? So I looked it up online, and people were saying, at least with the PS Plus or PS whatever service, it's not what I'm using, but I'm guessing they're probably running off of these, that it might just be lag. So potentially, if you played the PS2 version, maybe there was no issue and you could easily do it. But running off of like the PS3 wireless controller, maybe that was a problem. But so if anyone who does decide to play this, and you struggle with that final boss QT section, because the buttons change, they're not the same. You don't have to learn a pattern. It's going to be random. Is a select. What's the phrase? As in, like, you press select, and then you just keep doing that over and over again. Because then, when it comes up for the Q2E button, it will you see it for like a brief second, like what you need to pick. So then you unpause with the select and quickly press it, and you'll get through it. So it's not how I would like to do it, but I was reading that people who were doing this 50 times, they just couldn't do it, and were going to hurl the control on the TV. So it's a way of doing it, but it just feels like you got through the boss battle, and then it comes down to that. It kind of feels anticlimactic in a way. And I mean, I'm getting older, and my reflexes are probably starting to slow down a bit. So it kind of feels like they're being quite harsh to people who maybe aren't able just to react as quickly, But anyway, God of War 2. So we'll now be moving on to God of War 3. So, because yes, I forgot to mention, the reason why I picked this game now is because as part of Club 52, we do a monthly game club as well, where from a wheel a game gets picked for that someone has nominated, and that was God of War 3. But because I've played 1 last year and I've never played 2, I was like, well, I have to play 2 before playing 3. So after this, I'll be playing 3. The RPG I've been playing might be likely to be finished first, but you know, the next non-RPG is definitely going to be this. It's already in the PlayStation, and I've already downloaded the update for the game. So anyway, till then. It is Friday, 26th of April, and Game 12 has just been finished. And that is God of War 3 on the PS3. So, Game 11 was one I've done a separate video for because it was an RPG, which is Defenders of Oasis. So, watch that. Anyway, sorry. It's late, it's like 11:30, and you know, a few whiskies. So yeah, God of War 3 on the PS3. So this is a game that was picked as the Club 52 Game of the Month. It's one I've had sitting in the collection because, well, I've just beaten God of War 2. I explained about the fact that, you know, we need to play this. This is the improvement in every way. So, and playing the first 2 games so recently, carrying into this, it just feels like such, you know, a Greek epic. I don't know, like back in the day, like waiting for the first game and the second game and the third game, if that period of time would have the same feeling. But if you play these like quite close to each other, it really does feel like, you know, such a build up. And okay, go for the PS2, PS3, clearly like the graphics will be better and things like that, but this does feel like such an improvement over the second game as well. And yeah, it's just, I've started the 2018 God of War on a friend's PS4. Like last year before, either way, like, but that save file was like gone because someone else started playing anyway. So I don't know when I'll ever get around to that. I'm curious how the ending of that will lead into the 2018 game, but anyway. Yeah, so this is definitely worth playing. I would say play the other 2 first, so it has more of an impact. But I was also like very like the first game did almost make me like rage quit, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, God of War 3, definitely worth playing. I can see why the series has such love. On to the next game. It is Friday, 3rd of May, and last night, so Thursday, 2nd of May, I beat game number 13, which is Decline for the Game Boy. So this is another homebrew game. It is also from the same dev as Opossum Country, which I did a little bit later on in this video. So again, not a very long game, but it has multiple endings, and it's very interesting. So you play a detective who's about to retire, because of course you do, but it's actually a woman for a change, which is quite nice, rather be like the grizzled old man kind of thing. But there's a murder case, and so you'd be sent to go investigate it. But it's the reason why it's called Decline. It's about the declining like mental state of this woman, and how that affects like the investigation, but also the mystery that's happening. So, like I say, it's not a very long game, but it's an interesting story. And like I said, there are multiple endings, so I replayed it a couple of times to get each one. And there's some like great like glitch graphics. I don't really want to give much away if you do give this a try, but it's interesting to see like how not only they show like how mental decline might be happening, but also like the weird glitching effect that's happening in the world itself. So yeah, I mean, definitely give it a go. I'd say give it a try. And also, Opossum Country, since doing Opossum Country, it's now been announced that Opossum Country, Decline, and a new 3rd game are being bundled up for a physical release by Incubator Games. So, which is how I then got into this one, is because I'm also QA testing this new build because it has all 3 games on the one cartridge. So watch out for the 3rd game appearing on a completed thing. So Yeah, so I haven't tried that third game yet, but we're already on like the fifth QA build now. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to trying that one. And like this dev seems to really know what he's doing, so definitely recommend. Anyway, till next time, catch you later.